Welcome today. Let's drive straight into our story.
The Curse of Black Hollow Manor. When the night is silent and the air thick with unease, there lies a place whispered only in fear, Black Hollow Manor. Tonight, we unravel its sinister past, where history and horror intertwine in a tale that will haunt your dreams. Listen closely, for the shadows hold secrets that only the brave dare uncover. Act 1. The Origins of Black Hollow Manor. Black Hollow Manor was built in 1792 by Elias Hargrove, a wealthy merchant with a taste for grandeur and a knack for misfortune. Nestled deep in the English countryside, the manor was said to be cursed from the moment its foundation was laid. Local legends spoke of a burial ground disturbed during its construction, unleashing vengeful spirits. But Elias, a man of ambition, dismissed the warnings. His mansion grew into a masterpiece of Gothic architecture, with sprawling gardens, towering spires, and secret passages. Yet, the grandeur couldn't mask the darkness within. Servants whispered of strange noises, objects moving on their own, and shadows that didn't belong. Elias, ever the skeptic, was determined to disprove the superstitions. He began hosting lavish parties to show the villagers there was nothing to fear. These gatherings, however, often ended with guests reporting unease, strange chills, whispered voices, and sightings of a pale figure roaming the halls. One guest claimed to see a shadowy hand reaching out from a mirror, and another swore they heard a child's laughter echoing through the empty corridors. Act 2. The Tragic Hargrove Family. Elias married a young woman named Lillian, whose beauty was matched only by her mysterious nature. She was often seen wandering the halls, her eyes distant as if haunted by unseen specters. Soon after, their two children were born, Amelia and Thomas. The family seemed picture perfect until tragedy struck. One stormy night in 1802, Elias was found dead in his study. His body was contorted in terror, his eyes wide open, staring at something, or someone, no one else could see. The coroner ruled it a heart attack, but the servants claimed otherwise. They spoke of a dark figure that prowled the halls and the faint sound of whispers in the dead of night. Lillian's behavior grew erratic. She locked herself in her room for days, emerging only to perform bizarre rituals in the garden. Villagers began to avoid the manor, and rumors of witchcraft spread like wildfire. Then, one fateful evening, Lillian disappeared without a trace. Amelia and Thomas were left to fend for themselves in the eerie manor. They grew up in isolation, their lives shaped by the manor's malevolence. Amelia, the elder sibling, often spoke of mother visiting her at night, though no one else saw her. Thomas, on the other hand, became obsessed with the manor's hidden passages, claiming they whispered secrets to him. Over the years, strange incidents plagued the manor. Visitors reported hearing soft weeping coming from the children's former rooms. Others described feeling watched or hearing footsteps in the attic. By 1820, Amelia had become a recluse, spending her days painting disturbing images of shadowy figures and blood-red skies. Thomas vanished into the labyrinth of tunnels beneath the manor, never to be seen again. Amelia's final painting, found clutched in her lifeless hands, depicted the manor consumed in flames with ghostly figures escaping into the night. Act 3. The Modern Intruders. The manor lay abandoned for over a century, its reputation as a cursed place growing with each passing year. In 1978, a group of paranormal investigators, led by Dr. Margaret Ellison, decided to uncover the truth behind Black Hollow Manor. Equipped with cameras, recorders, and an unshakable curiosity, they entered the forsaken estate. The group quickly realized they were not alone. Footsteps echoed in empty halls, doors slammed shut on their own, and a chilling presence seemed to follow them. One investigator, Paul, claimed to hear a child's voice singing a haunting lullaby. Another, Janet, found herself locked in a room where the temperature plummeted, and the words "leave now" appeared scratched into the wall. Margaret herself became the focus of the entity's wrath. She began experiencing vivid dreams of the Hargrove family, seeing glimpses of their final moments. In one vision, she saw Elias begging for mercy as a shadowy figure loomed over him. In another, she watched Lillian perform rituals, her eyes black as coal, chanting in an unknown language. The dreams turned into waking nightmares, and Margaret's sanity began to unravel. One by one, the investigators succumbed to the manor's horrors. Margaret's final recording captured her terrified voice. Asterisk, it's here. Watching. Waiting. Don't. Her words ended in a blood-curdling scream. Act 4, The Endless Haunting. Today, Black Hollow Manor remains a place of fear and fascination. Urban explorers occasionally venture into its decaying halls, often emerging with stories of ghostly encounters. Some never emerge at all. Locals swear they can see flickering lights in the manor's windows on stormy nights and hear faint whispers carried by the wind. But the most chilling part of the tale? Those who spend a night in Black Hollow often report the same recurring dream: a woman in a black dress, her eyes hollow and her voice a haunting whisper. Asterisk, welcome home. Act 5, a warning to the curious. If you're ever drawn to the allure of Black Hollow Manor, remember the tales of those who dared to enter. The house doesn't just haunt, it consumes. Visitors report feeling an inexplicable pull to return, as if the house had claimed a piece of their soul. There are even whispers that the manor's curse is spreading. Objects taken from the house bring misfortune to their owners. A stolen candlestick caused a man's home to burn down. A portrait of Lillian brought nightmares to its collector until he returned it. The house's reach is long, and its hunger insatiable. Conclusion. And so, dear listener, the tale of Black Hollow Manor comes to an end, or does it? The shadows of its past linger, waiting for the next soul brave enough to enter. As you drift to sleep tonight, remember, history isn't always what it seems, and some places are best left forgotten. Sweet dreams, if you can. Act 6, Amelia's Diary unearthed. In 2023, during an effort to catalog haunted landmarks, a team of preservationists unearthed a hidden chest in Black Hollow Manor's basement. Inside, they discovered Amelia Hargrove's diary, a chilling artifact chronicling the final days of the Hargrove family. The pages were aged but surprisingly intact, written in a scrawled hand that seemed to grow more frantic with each entry. October 15, 1819, Mother's voice calls to me from the garden again. She says she's waiting, but I know better. That isn't Mother. Thomas doesn't believe me, but the whispers are growing louder. The shadows in the hall are moving on their own. They're watching us. November 3rd, 1819. Thomas has changed. He speaks in riddles now, claiming the house has secrets only he understands. Last night, I heard him whispering to someone in the tunnels. But when I went to look, he was alone, staring at the wall. He told me, "It's coming." What does he mean? December 10th, 1819. I dreamed of fire again. The manor burned, and the figures in the shadows laughed as they escaped. When I woke, the painting was on my easel. I don't remember painting it. I'm afraid to sleep. I'm afraid of what's coming. The final entry was particularly haunting. December 31st, 1819. The house has taken Thomas. I heard him scream, but when I ran to the tunnels, all I found was his locket. They're coming for me next. Mother's shadow was at my door last night. She smiled at me, her eyes empty. I don't know if this is real or if I've already lost my mind. If someone finds this diary, know that the house must be destroyed. Burn it to the ground. It won't stop them, but it will slow them. The curse must not spread. Act 7, The Urban Explorer's Tale. In 2025, a renowned urban explorer known only as Phantom Vox decided to investigate Black Hollow Manor. Armed with a camera and a live stream setup, they broadcast their journey to thousands of viewers online. From the start, the atmosphere was oppressive. The live stream captured strange phenomena, a door slamming behind him, an eerie shadow darting across the hallway, and faint, disembodied whispers. The chat erupted with viewers begging him to leave, but curiosity drove him deeper into the manor. Phantom Vox discovered a hidden passage that led to the basement where Amelia's diary had been found. As he descended, the air grew colder, and the sound of scratching echoed from the walls. His flashlight flickered, and for a moment, the viewers caught sight of a figure standing at the end of the corridor, a woman in black with hollow eyes. Suddenly, the screen went dark. Viewers later reported hearing faint screams before the live stream abruptly ended. Phantom Vox was never seen again, and his disappearance became a grim reminder of the manor's sinister power. Act 8, The Curse continues. Even now, Black Hollow Manor's legend grows. Locals claim the house is alive, feeding off the fear and curiosity of those who dare to approach. Paranormal enthusiasts who venture too close report nightmares of a burning house and shadowy figures whispering their names. And then there's the lingering question: did Amelia's diary hold the key to breaking the curse? Or was it merely the ramblings of a mind unraveling under the weight of supernatural terror? Some believe the only way to end the manor's grip is to find Thomas's locket, still hidden somewhere in the labyrinth beneath the house. But who would dare to try? If you thought this was the end, think again. In the next episode, we'll delve into the mysterious artifacts tied to Black Hollow Manor that have cursed their owners throughout history. From a haunted music box to a blood-stained mirror, each relic carries a piece of the manor's dark legacy. If you like this story, don't forget to subscribe and like that. Act 9, The Cursed Relics of Black Hollow Manor. Amelia Hargrove's diary warned of the curse spreading beyond the walls of Black Hollow Manor, a chilling prophecy that soon proved true. Over the centuries, items salvaged from the manor became vessels of its malevolence. Each relic carried a piece of the manor's darkness, bringing misfortune and despair to those who dared to possess them. The music box. The first relic, a delicate music box adorned with intricate carvings, was discovered in 1894 by a collector named Henry Culvert. Intrigued by its craftsmanship, he brought it to his London home. The music box played a haunting lullaby, the same melody Amelia Hargrove once sang to her brother Thomas. At first, Henry admired its beauty, but soon, the melody began playing on its own, even when the box was closed. The lullaby grew louder at night, accompanied by whispers that seemed to come from the shadows. Henry's wife awoke screaming one night, claiming to see a pale, faceless child standing at the foot of their bed. Desperate, Henry attempted to destroy the music box. But every time he tried, the object reappeared, undamaged, on his mantle. Within weeks, Henry descended into madness, scribbling the same phrase over and over in his journal, "They're coming for me." One morning, he was found dead, his body twisted unnaturally, his eyes wide in terror. The music box disappeared, only to resurface years later at an estate sale, ready to claim its next victim. The blood-stained mirror. In 1912, a mirror salvaged from Black Hollow Manor was purchased by the wealthy aristocrat Margaret Bellamy. The ornate frame, etched with Gothic designs, made it a centerpiece in her grand dining hall. But the mirror's surface was unlike any other. It seemed to shimmer as though alive, and shadows flickered in its depths even when the room was brightly lit. Margaret soon became obsessed with the mirror. She claimed to see her deceased husband in its reflection, beckoning to her. Servants reported her spending hours staring into the glass, muttering incomprehensible words. Then the bloodstains appeared. No matter how many times the mirror was cleaned, streaks of crimson reappeared on its surface, pooling in shapes that resembled claw marks. Guests at Margaret's home complained of a suffocating presence in the dining hall and described hearing faint whispers coming from the mirror. Margaret's obsession grew until one night, during a dinner party, she stood before the mirror and declared, "I've seen the truth." She then plunged a knife into her own chest. Her blood splattered the mirror, which shimmered briefly before cracking. The mirror was removed from the house and locked away in a museum, but its curse endured. Night guards reported hearing laughter echoing in the empty halls and found the mirror's cracked surface inexplicably repaired each morning. The final relic, Thomas's locket. The most sinister of the manor's cursed relics remains Thomas Hargrove's locket. Believed to be hidden somewhere within the labyrinthine tunnels beneath Black Hollow Manor, the locket is said to hold the key to the curse itself. In 2008, a group of amateur paranormal investigators claimed to have found the locket. Their discovery was never verified, as none of them returned from their expedition. The last known footage from their camera showed one of the team members holding the locket, a tarnished silver pendant with an engraving of the Hargrove family crest. Moments later, the screen filled with static, accompanied by a chilling scream. When a search party was sent to locate the group, they found no trace of the investigators, only the locket lying on the ground, its surface gleaming as if freshly polished. Legend has it that whoever possesses the locket is bound to the manor's curse. Whispers from the locket compel the bearer to return to Black Hollow, drawn to its darkness like a moth to a flame. A call to the brave. As the tale of Black Hollow Manor grows, so does the allure of its cursed relics. They now lie scattered across the world, waiting for the unsuspecting to uncover them. But beware, each artifact carries the weight of the manor's evil, a fragment of its insatiable hunger. Should you encounter one of these relics, remember Amelia's warning: the house doesn't just haunt, it consumes.
Act 10. The Descent into Black Hollow's Heart.
The story of Black Hollow Manor's cursed relics spread far and wide, attracting adventurers, historians, and treasure seekers, all drawn by the promise of unraveling its dark mysteries. Yet, none returned unscathed. Among them was Evelyn Ward, a grieving widow searching for answers to the inexplicable death of her daughter, Clara. Evelyn's journey began with a letter. It arrived on a stormy night, and signed, with a single line scrawled in shaky handwriting, "Find the locket, and you will find the truth." Attached was a weathered map of Black Hollow Manor's tunnels. Though Evelyn didn't believe in the supernatural, she was desperate. Her daughter's death had left her with questions no earthly explanation could satisfy. The haunted approach. Evelyn arrived at the manor on a bitterly cold evening. The air was thick with an unnatural stillness, and the skeletal trees lining the path seemed to shiver with life. As she approached the decaying gates, they creaked open of their own accord, as if welcoming her into the abyss. Inside the manor, the air was heavy, laced with the scent of mildew and something far more sinister. Shadows seemed to shift and elongate, forming grotesque shapes on the cracked walls. The faint sound of a music box echoed through the grand foyer, playing the same haunting lullaby. Evelyn shivered, clutching her lantern tightly. Her resolve was tested almost immediately. A mirror in the entry hall reflected not her image, but that of a woman in black, her hollow eyes locked onto Evelyn's. The figure raised a finger to her lips in a shushing motion before vanishing. Evelyn stumbled backward, but the whispering began before she could flee. "You're too late. The tunnel's below." Following the map, Evelyn descended into the tunnels beneath the manor. The labyrinth was suffocating, the air damp and cold. Her lantern cast flickering light on the narrow passageways, revealing carvings etched into the stone, symbols she didn't recognize and words in a language she couldn't read. As she ventured deeper, the whispers grew louder, forming sentences. "She called us here. We are not alone. You will join us." Suddenly, Evelyn stumbled upon a cavernous chamber, its walls covered in pulsating veins of blackened roots. In the center stood a stone altar, and on it lay the locket. It gleamed unnaturally, as if it absorbed the light from her lantern. But Evelyn wasn't alone. Shadows began to materialize, forming the figures of the Hargrove family. Lillian stood at the forefront, her face twisted in anguish. Beside her were the spectral forms of Amelia and Thomas, their hollow gazes fixed on Evelyn. The revelation. "You shouldn't have come," Lillian's voice echoed, both sorrowful and accusing. Evelyn stood frozen as the apparitions began to circle her. Lillian extended a transparent hand toward the locket. "This is the source of our torment. It binds us to this place, and it will bind you too." Evelyn's heart raced. She didn't understand, but she felt an overwhelming pull toward the locket. Her daughter's face flashed in her mind, and with trembling hands, she reached for it. The moment her fingers touched the cold metal, the cavern erupted in a cacophony of screams. Memories not her own flooded her mind, Lillian performing rituals to protect her children from an unseen force, Elias's terrified cries as the darkness claimed him, Amelia's descent into madness, and Thomas's final moments, consumed by the tunnels. But the most horrifying revelation was that Clara, Evelyn's daughter, had been claimed by the same darkness. The locket was a beacon, drawing the innocent to the manor to feed its insatiable hunger. The bargain. Lillian stepped closer, her ghostly form flickering. "It is too late to save yourself, but you can save others. Destroy the locket,
and the curse will end. Evelyn clutched the locket, her mind torn. If she destroyed it, she risked being consumed by the darkness, her soul trapped within the manor. But if she left, the cycle would continue, claiming more lives, including Clara's. The shadows closed in, their whispers now a deafening roar. Evelyn fell to her knees, tears streaming down her face. Why me? Why my daughter? Amelia's voice broke through the chaos, soft and sorrowful. Because the house feeds on love. It takes what you cherish most. Evelyn's anguish turned to resolve. She stood, gripping the locket tightly. If this is what it takes to end the suffering, so be it. She raised the locket high, preparing to smash it against the altar, but the shadows surged forward, their wails piercing the air. The cavern began to collapse, the walls cracking and the ground trembling. The cliffhanger. As the darkness engulfed her, Evelyn's voice echoed, "Clara, my love, this is for you." The screen goes black, or, in your audio format, the story falls silent. Then, a faint whisper emerges, chilling and uncertain. Did she succeed?
Act 11. The Toll of Sacrifice. The cavern crumbled around Evelyn, but her resolve was unshaken. Clutching the locket, she brought it crashing down onto the altar with all her strength. The impact sent shockwaves through the chamber, shattering the locket into 1,000 glittering shards. A deafening scream erupted, not just from the shadows but from the very walls of the manor, as if the house itself was alive and in agony. Evelyn staggered back, her vision swimming. For a brief moment, she thought it was over, but then came the unbearable pain. The darkness lashed out, wrapping around her like cold, iron chains. It sank into her skin, her mind, and her soul. The whispers grew louder, accusing, pleading, mourning. Evelyn realized too late the truth. The curse did not end, it transferred. The aftermath. The locket was gone, its pieces dissolved into nothingness, but the manor remained. Above ground, the structure groaned and shifted as if it were breathing. The air grew lighter, the oppressive weight lifting. For the first time in centuries, Black Hollow Manor felt quiet. Outside, the villagers who had watched the manor from afar noticed the change. The lights in the windows faded, and the ghostly figures were no longer visible. Yet none dared enter, not even to search for Evelyn. In the depths of the tunnels, Evelyn lay on the cold stone floor. Her body was intact, but she was no longer herself. Her eyes opened, glowing faintly with an unnatural light. The whispers she had fought so hard to silence now lived within her. Evelyn was not dead. She was the new guardian of Black Hollow Manor, tethered to its horrors, her soul a vessel for the darkness. She had saved countless lives by breaking the curse, but the price was eternal torment. The new legend. Years passed, and Evelyn's story became another chapter in the haunted legacy of Black Hollow Manor. Explorers and thrill-seekers continued to visit, lured by the promise of fame or the hope of discovering its secrets. Many reported hearing a woman's voice, soft and sorrowful, echoing through the halls. "Please, leave while you can." Some claimed to see her, standing in the shadows, her face streaked with tears, her eyes glowing faintly. Unlike the Hargroves, Evelyn didn't seek to harm. She tried to warn, to guide, to protect. But the house was stronger than her will. Those who ignored her warnings often vanished, their fates sealed by the manor's insatiable hunger. The villagers whispered that Evelyn's sacrifice had changed the curse. The house no longer fed on love, it fed on despair. The final visitor. Decades later, a lone figure approached Black Hollow Manor. It was Clara, Evelyn's daughter, now grown and drawn to the place that had haunted her dreams. Though she had no memory of the locket or the events surrounding her mother's disappearance, she felt an unexplainable connection to the manor. Clara entered cautiously, her steps echoing in the vast, empty halls. The air was heavy with sorrow, yet there was an underlying warmth, as if the house itself recognized her. She wandered through the ruins, finding fragments of Evelyn's belongings, a torn journal, a locket chain, and a single photograph of mother and daughter. In the grand foyer, Clara froze. A figure emerged from the shadows, Evelyn. Her form was faint, her face etched with anguish, but her glowing eyes softened when they met Clara's. "Clara," Evelyn whispered, her voice trembling. "You shouldn't have come." Clara stepped closer, tears streaming down her face. "Mother? Is it really you?" Evelyn reached out, but her hand passed through Clara's cheek like mist. "You must leave, my love. The house will take you too." But Clara refused. "I've spent my life searching for answers. I'm not leaving without you." The tragic choice. Evelyn shook her head, her spectral form flickering. "I can't leave, Clara. I'm bound to this place. But you still have a life to live. Please, go before it's too late." The walls groaned, and the temperature dropped. The house sensed Clara's presence, its hunger stirring. Shadows crept toward her, reaching with claw-like tendrils. Evelyn turned, her face twisting in fury. "Not her," she screamed, her voice resonating with power. The shadows hesitated, as if recognizing their new master. Evelyn looked back at Clara, her expression softening. "Run. And don't look back." Clara hesitated but finally obeyed, tears blurring her vision as she fled the manor. Evelyn watched her daughter go, the sound of her footsteps fading into the distance. When Clara was gone, Evelyn turned to the encroaching darkness. "You'll have to settle for me," she said, her voice steady. The final scene. Clara stood at the edge of the village, watching as the manor's windows flickered one last time before going dark. She clutched the photograph of her mother, her heart heavy with grief and gratitude. The villagers told her she was lucky to escape, but Clara didn't feel lucky. She knew her mother's sacrifice had saved her, but the price was a wound that would never heal. Back in the manor, Evelyn stood alone in the grand foyer. The shadows encircled her, whispering their eternal torment. She closed her eyes, whispering a final plea. "Let this end." But the house did not listen. Evelyn was its prisoner, its protector, and its victim. And so, the cycle continued, with Black Hollow Manor standing as a monument to love, loss, and the horrors that linger in the shadows. Conclusion: some stories end in triumph, others in despair. But the tale of Black Hollow Manor reminds us that true love often demands the ultimate sacrifice. And sometimes, the greatest horrors are the ones we can never leave behind.
If you like this content, don't forget to subscribe and support.